Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yana. I'm one of the registered nurses. If you are new to my channel, big welcome. I hope you will like the content that I create. In today's video, I want to let out some information that was in my head, and I feel like when I don't prep for the videos, they are the most valuable and successful because I have some good information to share, and you know, if I don't do it now, this information is going to be vanished from my head because I will go on in my daily activities and will just simply forget about it. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about support that the grad RNs get when they start their grad year at the hospitals, okay? And I'm gonna be talking in this video about public hospitals, particularly in Queensland Health, okay? So I think it's very important information because when you finish your degree and you have applied already, or maybe thinking about applying for a grad position somewhere in the public sector, you know, you might be wondering, what kind of support will I get as a new starting RN, not having any experience yet, working autonomously by myself, you know, looking after a number of patients, you know, on my own. It's a little bit scary, you know, so you might be thinking, okay, what's gonna happen when I'm on the floor? You know, like, who's gonna help me? Who's gonna look after me? Because you are no longer going to be a student who will be supervised by your body nurse or by your facilitator and things like that. So I'm going to share with you guys what support I've got when I started my grad year. So the support that I've got as a grad registered nurse nearly a year ago when I started in the general medicine ward was, first, I've got 6 supernumerary shifts, which means I had a body nurse that I was shadowing pretty much for 6 shifts. First 3 shifts I was just shadowing her. No, I would say like first 2, yeah, maybe like third one I was more or less already feeling more confident to take more and more responsibility, you know, and things like that. We were sharing at the beginning 2 by 2 patients, so I would take and she would take 2, so she would have her 4 and I will take 2 and she would take 2. If it was something like iron infusion, blood infusion, or any IV infusions or anything like that, I would let her do it and I would watch, and then slowly I would take like more and more of tasks to do it on my own, and she would be just standing with me as a second check and doing like a little bit of work, but letting me to practice more. So I had 6 of those shifts, and then 3 out of those shifts, the last 3, I was already, as I said, taking more responsibility, doing more tasks, and she was kind of shadowing me, making sure that I'm safe and doing things correctly. If I need any information extra, or if I had any questions, she would be always beside me, helping me out. And it wouldn't be the same person, so I would have like 6 shifts and it was different people as my body nurses, okay? So I would have whoever is on a shift, you know, on that day, I would be allocated to one of the people, okay? I did not have my uniform first. I needed to order it and wait for 3 weeks for the scrubs to come, because in Queensland Health we have, oh, excuse my nose, because in Queensland Health we have like a special scrubs uniform, you know, and then we have formal uniform. So I was wearing just black, white top and the black bottom, okay, and that was my uniform for the first 3 weeks until I've got my scrubs. So that's the first support. Then second support was for the first 6 months of my grad year, I was not having any night shifts. Some of the grad RNs on my ward, they started to have night shifts after 5 months. So the reason why Nam on my ward choose to do it, he just wants to make sure that we are comfortable enough and feeling supported, you know, less stressed as we were in the beginning, because night shift is different to your morning shift, to your afternoon shifts. It's completely different routine. It's heavy on your body as well, and when you are a grad RN, you're going through some sort of a stress already because it's a new environment, it's a new responsibility, it's a solo responsibility when you're looking after patients, so you do go under some sort of stress. So my Nam, he was nice enough to all grads on my ward not to add more stress and just keep us off the night shifts for the first 5 to 6 months. For me, it was 6 months. So I started to have my first night shift after 6 months. And the first months of my night shifts, I wasn't even having even 4 shifts. Like, we on a ward, when you're doing 7 to 8 shifts in a fortnight, we usually have 4 night shifts per month. It's a mandatory amount. You need to have it because everyone need to share the night shifts, you know, to be fair to everyone. You can't just say, I don't want to work nights, because maybe someone else doesn't want to work nights too. But because someone has to do nights, we have to be responsible and kind of like understanding to everyone, you know what I mean? So we all share the amount of night shifts. So you will have it like 4 night shifts a month. And when I've got my first night shift, I didn't have all 4. I think I had only 2, and my mom, he put me 1 shift a week, and then I had like between my normal shifts, and then I still had my mornings and afternoon shifts and stuff like that. And then after a week I had another one, so I had like a week break in between. And then the following months I started to have my full 4 night shifts a month. And the way we do it on my ward, we have it 2 by 2. So you would have 2 night shifts in a row, and then you will have it once a fortnight. So you will have then kind of like a week in between break, and then you will have another 2 in a row. Okay, so it's really easy, it's not too hard, you get used to it. But it was very thoughtful of my mom to do this to grads, and I really appreciate his way of doing it. So that's about night shifts. Then we did not have any modules in the first months. So when you do the grad year at public sector or a private one, you will have a certain amount of modules that you will need to complete as a part of your grad year program. Okay, especially if you're working for Queensland Health, but I know it's the same for private sectors as well, and also for aged cares. Now some of the aged cares do implement a grad year program if you want to enroll to it, if you want extra support after graduation, if you want to start your year of practice at HK, if you did not enroll for Queensland Health grad program or any other private hospital, and you started, for example, in aged care to do your year of experience and then moving on to hospital, some of aged cares will provide you a grad program. Like my one, for example, does provide it, but I did refuse my one because I was already enrolled to the hospital where I'm at now. So each program will have a certain amount of modules. Like my hospital is the highest in the number of modules, and I absolutely hate it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I absolutely hate it because I don't have time for it, and it's like 9 modules per year. Okay, so you do a module per month, and modules are massive. They're like 30 pages. Like the one that I'm doing now is a 31 page. It's about diabetes, and I'm taking forever to complete it. I keep asking to reschedule my dates of submission because like I physically can't do it as I'm working a full time. I do 7 shifts at the hospital, and I do another additional 3 shifts at my aged care, so I do proper full time. It's just my days, they're not Monday to Friday, but they are spread throughout the week. I might have like weekends every week, you know, but then have 2 days during the week. Okay, so we have on my program at my hospital 9 modules. So the first month we were not allocated for any modules to submit. We kind of had a month of transition, of getting used to the routine, of discovering like the new ward, you know, and the team, just getting our head around everything, because it's a big change obviously from being a graduate or being a student to now independently working registered nurse. So yeah, so for the first month we did not need to do any modules. Okay, so that was great, because I think if I would be also in the first month, by the end of it, due to submit a module, I would literally shoot myself and leave the profession. Now, the next thing is, on my ward, after my first supernumerary shifts, I had a support from the whole team on the ward, which means if I, for example, needed help with, let's say again, iron infusion, blood infusion, because those ones usually looks super complicated when you're just a new RN, you know, or if I needed, for example, help with IDC insertion, or what else would be, well, blood scanners were kind of like easy, maybe some sort of like IV infusions from the medications that I was not familiar about, or maybe just like forgot a little bit from my prac, as was when I was a student, you know. I would grab literally any nurse on the ward, and they were so helpful, so friendly and polite, making you feel like you're not stupid, you know, supporting you, not judging you, you know, always there to help you. And that was probably the main and the biggest support to make me feel like I'm doing things right when I just started, you know. Just the team environment is so important, and I was lucky and fortunate enough to be in a ward where we have the greatest team ever, who was supporting me throughout the first months of my grad transition program. So that's what I've got as well, and yeah, I absolutely love it. Up until today, like, we have a beautiful team of nurses working on my ward. Then another support that I've got was facilitators facilitator visits. Okay, so when you do your grad program, you will have a facilitator or coordinator who will be looking after you throughout the year. You might have few of them, and they will be just taking turns coming and see you, making sure that you are safe, making sure that if you have any questions, they are there to help you, to support you, to maybe do a debrief if you're feeling like you are too stressed out, or if you had a difficult day or a difficult patient or whatever. They will be always there for you, even also they will give you their phone number, their email and everything like that. If they are not on a ward, you can always call them. You can always call them even during your shift. You can message them, you can email them, you know, and just ask them to come and help you. Okay, so they are on a shift in an office, just on a different floor, all the time at the hospital, so they're always present there in person. They just might not be with you all the time. But in the beginning, I remember when I finished my 6 shifts of supernumerary, I've got 3 days of my facilitator coming and being with me as a second check. So I was so freaking out. I remember 6 days finished, I had no longer anyone like shadowing me or me shadowing anyone. Now I had my 4 patients and my buddy nurse, my partner nurse, because we go in pairs. They had their 4 patients. So I remember when the day started, I knew that I will be kind of on my own today, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so freaking out. I needed to like make sure that I'm in time for everything. I needed to make sure that I'm safe, that I'm doing things correctly, and my anxiety was over the roof, especially in the morning rounds. It was morning shift that day, I remember. It's so hectic and so busy. You have tons of medications to administer, and everyone wants to be showered, everyone needs to be set for breakfast, everyone wants to go to toilet, and everything happening at the same time. And then you have the doctor's round as well starting at this time, and they start to talk to you, to update you, to ask you about the patient, and you're like, wow. Anyways, so can you imagine, like, all of this is going on in my head on that day? And like after handover, I see my facilitator come, and I'm like, oh. And she came and she said to me, I'm gonna stay with you today and for the next 2 days. I'm gonna be your second check. I know how you feel, that's why I am here, you know, I will provide for you any support you need. And she stayed with me up until 12 o'clock. So I've done with her morning round medication and everything that I needed to do up until 12 o'clock. We've done then 12 o'clock checks, insulin checks and everything. And then 2 o'clock is only like Panadols and few like simple tablets, you know. So she said like, I will come back and check on you during the handover. So she left me for 2 hours, and she was doing this for the next 3 days to make me feel like, okay, I'm not alone, I still have someone, you know, I'll never be alone, I will always have a support. So that was super nice of them. And then what she was doing after these 3 days, she would come to me once or twice a week for about an hour or two, depending. We had few grads on my ward that she needed to check. We all started at different times, and she would come and just make sure that you're okay, ask you if you have any questions, ask you if you need any support, you know, or anything like that. And now it's been nearly the end of the year. I don't see them that often, but it's a good thing. They say, like, if your facilitator doesn't come to watch you, it means you're fine, because my NAM is reporting to them as well. So if there's any problem, then facilitator will be chasing you and coming for you, you know, like making sure that shadowing you and stuff like that. But throughout the year, like, I was seeing them like more and more rare, unless I would need something, you know. But I mean, like, I was fine. Like, every month I was feeling more and more confident, more relaxed, knowing what to do more or less, so it was fine. But yeah, in the beginning I've got the support that I needed. Then the NAM. Okay, my NAM was really good support to me. He would walk through the ward throughout the shift, and if he sees any grad, he would ask, like, are you okay, do you need anything, you know, do you have any questions, you know, do you want my help? Like, sometimes my NAM would, in the beginning when we have hectic shifts in the morning, would be my second check to do the check for the medications, you know, like your S4s, S8s, your IVs and stuff like that. He would literally sometimes even help in the procedures, you know, because NAMs, they aren't still nurses, like they are CNs, you know, and clinical nurses and all of that, so they still have the same scope as you had when you started. They can do pretty much all the procedures with you if they want to, if they have time. So he was a really good support for me, and they just made me feel like he was a type of manager that would be really friendly and would be there for his team, not just sitting in an office doing his thing, you know. He was a part of the team. He makes you feel that you're a part of the team too. So that was super cute, super great. Then we were having online support as well. So we have something called Teams. So our facilitators, they would throw a lot of information there for us, policies, local policies of the hospital's procedures, you know, protocols, you know, and guidelines and all of that. So if we needed anything like IDC insertion, blood transfusion, iron transfusion, we could go there and have a look, your medication checks, you know, and all of that. So if you needed anything, the information would be there for you. All what you need is just find the time, you know, and desire to go and check and read it, you know, but it was always there for us, which was really nice. And then we had this group forum on Teams as well, where all of us could ask questions, each other and facilitator, and she would answer it there on this group forum. Also on Wednesdays we always have team meetups, I think for an hour, when we go face to face on a Zoom kind of call, and again we can ask on a video call all the questions that we need, and they can share some information that they want with us as well. So this is kind of support that I've got as a grad registered nurse when I started my grad year working for QLD Health in a public hospital. My transition was still a little bit scary, because anxiety and fear wouldn't just leave you, because it's a new environment, it's new procedures, it's the understanding that now you are looking after patients you're looking after your patients by yourself. So I still was anxious, but I think if I would not have this support that I just told you about, I would probably would be freaking out even more, to the point that I don't know what I would do. Maybe I would do mistakes or being super clumsy or something, you know, when you do stupid things when you are scared and there is nobody there to support you. But yeah, I mean, like, I just wanted to share with you guys. So if you will be starting your grad year somewhere in the public sector, especially with QLD Health, there is a support for you there. This is my example, my experience, you know, so don't be that scared. Everything will be fine, you know, you will get through it, you know. And as scary as it sounds to be independent registered nurse after graduation, you know, it's not that bad in the real world, okay? It's okay, okay? You're never gonna be alone, never. Even if your facilitators are busy, you will always have your team of nurses who can assist you in anything you need, because in the end of the day, we all work as a team, okay? And this is how it should be, and this is how it is. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions about my grad year or about anything related to the grad year experience, just leave them in the comments section below and I will read it and answer it. But till then, I'll see you in my next videos. Bye!